start with Class 10 Civics, Chapter 5, Political Struggles and Movements. In the earlier chapters, we discussed why power sharing is important and how different tiers of government share power. In this chapter, we shall carry this discussion forward with the help of two case studies. So, democracy involves a lot of conflicts between and differences in viewpoints. These differences are often expressed in the organized ways in the form of movements. In this chapter, we will look at indirect ways of influencing politics through pressure groups and movements. Let's understand this chapter with the help of two stories. So the first case study is about Nepal. So in 2006, there was a people's movement for democracy in Nepal. First, let us see its reasons. So Nepal became a democracy in 1990. The king remained the head of the state, but the real power was with the elected representatives. Thus, we can say that Nepal became a constitutional monarchy. At that time, the king of Nepal was Birendra, and he agreed to the system of democracy. But he was killed in a very mysterious massacre in 2001. King Gyanendra, the younger brother of King Birendra, became the next ruler, and he was not accepted. He did not accept the system of democracy, so he rejected to the democracy rule. And in February 2005, the king dismissed the PM and he dissolved the parliament. Thus, Nepal became a monarchy at that time. Then the people of Nepal revolted against this act of the king, and the movement of April 2006 was aimed at restoring the democracy in Nepal. Now let's study more about this movement. So now let us see how this movement in Nepal took place. So all the major political parties in the parliament formed a 7-party alliance, SPA, and called a 4-day strike in Kathmandu, the capital of Nepal. This protest soon turned into an indefinite strike in which Maoist insurgents and other organizations joined hands. So many other organizations joined hands with SPA in this protest. Third, the people defied curfew and came to the streets, and the security forces were unable to control them. So a fight started between the people and the security forces, and the security forces were unable to control the people who defied the curfew and came to the streets. On April 21st, the protesters served an ultimatum to the king. So they made some final demands to the king, and if these demands were not followed by the king, they were not accepted by the king, then the people would start to rebel. Now let us see these demands. So the first demand was restoration of parliament. Second was power of all party government, and the third demand was a new constituent assembly to be elected. On April 24, 2006, the king finally accepted all three demands, and the people's revolution was successful. Now, after the success of the people's movement in Nepal, the SPA chose Girija Prasad Koirala as the new PM of the interim government. The parliament met and passed various laws taking away most of the power from the king. In 2008, monarchy was abolished in Nepal and it became a federal democratic republic. In 2015, a new constitution was adopted by the Nepal. So in this way, Nepal became a republic. The second case study is about Bolivia's water war. So Bolivia is a poor country in Latin America. In Bolivia, there was a people's struggle against the privatization of water. And this struggle is also known as Bolivia's water war. First, let us see the reasons of this water war. So the World Bank pressurized the government of Bolivia to give up control of municipal water supply. The government sold these rights of water supply for the city of Cochabamba to a MNC or a multinational company. Now this multinational company, it increased the price of water by 4 times and the people were unable to pay the water bills. This led to a spontaneous protest by the people. Now let's study more about this protest. In January 2000, an alliance of labor, human rights and community leaders organized a 4 days general strike in the city of Cochabamba. But the government agreed to negotiate and accept the demands of the people that they will reduce the price of the water. And so the strike was called off. But still, no change happened and the government did not fulfill its promise. Therefore, in February 2000, another agitation started. But the police resorted to brutal repression and in this way, the police sent the people back. In April 2000, another strike followed. The government imposed martial law. This means that the military controlled that city from now. But the power of the people forced the officials of the MNC to flee from the city. And therefore, the contract with the MNC was cancelled. The water supply was restored to the municipality at the old rate. And all this revolution is known as the Bolivia's water war. Both these stories are quite different from each other, and the struggle in Nepal was to establish democracy, while the struggle in Bolivia was about a particular policy of the government. But there were also many similarities in both the case studies. For example, in both the case studies, the struggles involved mass mobilization. In both, public demonstration of mass support clinched the dispute. And both involved a critical role of political organizations. So on this basis, we can draw the following conclusions from both these case studies. First, democracy evolves through popular struggles. Defining moments of democracy usually involves conflicts between those groups who have exercised power and those who aspire for a share in power. Democratic conflict is resolved through mass mobilization by the people. Third, these conflicts and mobilizations are based on new political organizations. There are many agencies of organized politics such as political parties, pressure groups and movement groups. We shall read about all these pressure groups and movement groups in the second video of this chapter. So now let's move to the next topic, which is mobilization and organizations. In this, we will study how organizations help in the mobilization of the people. So let's go back to the story of Nepal and Bolivia. The organizations involved in the struggle of Nepal were the SPA, the Nepalese Communist Party or the Maoist Party. But apart from these political parties, there were also many other organizations of common people such as labor unions, organizations of teachers, lawyers and human rights groups. And similarly, many organizations involved in the Bolivia's water war were FEDECOR, which included all the engineers, environmentalists, farmers, factory unions and students. So in this way, in a democracy, different organizations play a very important role behind any important struggle, as you can see in both these examples. Now let us see the ways of exercising power in a democracy. So there are two ways to exercise power in a democracy. The first are the direct ways and the second are the indirect ways. So the direct ways of exercising power in a democracy are by creating political parties, contesting elections and by forming the government. And for citizens, they can participate in this process by voting. But apart from the direct ways, there are some indirect ways to exercise power in a democracy. This is by forming associate organizations and pressure groups. We will study the pressure groups in depth in the second video of this chapter. Link to the second video is provided in the description box. The PDF of notes are also provided in the description box. Stay tuned for the second video. Thank you.